Hello, and welcome to my Basis of Behavior presentation. My name is Reed Steinerman, and today we will be going over the behavior of stinging in insects. There will be 4 parts to this presentation: general information concerning stinging insects, including how and why they do this, and then 3 other parts, each pertaining to the 3 aspects we went over in class: physiological, developmental, and endocrine connections to this behavior. So let's start off with the types of insects that sting, and why we are focusing on insects in particular instead of other stinging animals such as scorpions or stingrays or even jellyfish. Our particular group of stingers belong to the order Hymenoptera, which include ants, bees, and wasps. These are the only insects which can sting. However, only the females possess stingers, and some hymenopterans do not sting at all, such as sawflies and horntails. Stinging is behavior that is used either offensively or defensively, depending on the species and circumstance. Parasitoid wasps, such as tarantula hawks here in the southwest, use their stingers to inject paralyzing venom into their prey items, which are then used to feed their larvae. Ants, such as the Australian trapjaw ant, can use their stingers to attack prey much larger than themselves, swarming other animals and subduing them with dozens of stings before dragging them away to the colony to feed their young. Because bees do not hunt and rather feed from the nectar of different plants, their stingers are used solely for the purpose of defending themselves or their hives from danger, whether that be a bear, a honey badger, or a human getting too close to the colony. Now you may be wondering, why are we only focusing on insects when there are many other animals that sting? That actually plays into the first section of the presentation, which pertains to the physiology of the behavior that is stinging. The stingers of Hymenoptera, believe it or not, are actually modified ovipositors, which are special reproductive tubes used for laying eggs. As you can see, we are here in my insect laboratory back at home, and we have a few examples here that we can use very well for this presentation. Some of these guys are social, some of them are solitary. Now, for the solitary, we have ourselves the mud dauber, as well as a digger bee and a velvet ant. And for the social, we have ourselves another one of these ants, as well as a honeybee and a paper wasp. Now, as far as let me see if I can grab this here. As far as ovipositors go, which do not sting, a stingless ovipositor, here is a common house cricket. You guys probably see these all the time. Family Grillidae. And this guy, you can see it right there, has a very long ovipositor. And that little, yeah, there you go, that little protruding end right there is what's used to lay the cricket's eggs. So you can tell this is a female because of that. Here's another example of an insect that does not sting but has an ovipositor. This is a teneb, or it's a family Tenebrionidae. They are a type of darkling beetle. And we zoom in real close here, and we turn this guy around, or this girl around, because look at that, there's a little ovipositor. It's kind of sticking out just a little bit. A lot of insects keep them inside their bodies so that they don't get damaged. However, this one started to protrude when it was collected. So we can see it right there. It's pretty cool. Now, solitary stinging insects do use their ovipositor to lay eggs. However, they also use them to sting. Here's a perfect example of that. We have the velvet ant right here, family Mutilidae, also known as a cow killer. And you can see that really long stinger right there. That would hurt. These can lay eggs for the ovipositor, but they also use that as a very dangerous stinger. Very fascinating. So just because an insect is a female and it stings doesn't mean that it can lay eggs. You have many examples of this with honeybees, with ants. The workers can sting, but they cannot lay eggs, and only the queen is able to lay eggs and sting. This is a perfect example of the usage of one or both of the aspects of having an ovipositor and stinging. This is also why males are unable to sting, as they do not lay eggs. Furthermore, it is the reason why we are focusing on insects instead of other animals, as no other animal in the world has a modified ovipositor as a stinger. While these are upsides to an insect using a stinger, such as the ability to hunt and defend itself or its nest, sometimes there are downsides to it as well. In the Amazon, poison dart frogs specifically hunt rover ants to digest their toxins in the venom and release it as a poison through the mucus in their skin. Another instance is that of the many species of bees, where their stinger is actually serrated. So when a bee stings, the barb gets stuck inside of the victim's skin, and the bee tears its abdomen apart when escaping. So depending on the environment and the circumstance, it may be maladaptive to display this behavior. Now, we should consider possession of an ovipositor and use of an ovipositor as a stinger as two separate aspects. As the common ancestor of hymenopterans evolved, the ovipositor in females became more and more weapon-like, which would indicate a gradual increase in its use as a stinger. This is the developmental basis for the behavior of stinging. In older species of hymenopterans, such as sawflies and wood wasps, we can see that the ovipositor is not modified to sting. Such is the case with pine sawflies in Europe, as well as the yellow-horned horntail here in North America, which use their saw-like ovipositor to cut into the plant hosts and insert its eggs into that plant. So, a stinger is always an ovipositor, but an ovipositor is not always a stinger. Furthermore, we know that depending on the type of ovipositor, we have different types of behaviors attached. We are just focused on the stinging behavior, and as we can see, this behavior must have developed along with that possession of a stinging ovipositor. As far as an endocrine basis goes for behavior of stinging, there are many hormonal examples that cause this behavior. For instance, when honeybees encounter an animal, like a bear for example, a hormone is released into their system which causes them to do two things. One is to send them into defensive mode and sting the bear. Another is to release a pheromone called isoamyl acetate, which interestingly also smells like bananas. This acts as an alarm pheromone that triggers all the other bees, which smell that pheromone, to go into defensive mode and become incredibly aggressive, and also come to the defense of the hive and sting the bear. Offensive stinging also occurs due to endocrine reasons. Pheromones run the life of social insects, and ants are no exception. In army ants found in South America, octopamine is a hormone that determines aggressiveness, with this being released into their systems when detecting a prey item larger than themselves. This allows dozens of ants to attack at the same time and take down that prey, and also influence their use of stingers during this event. This basis also takes part in the behavior of solitary stinging insects as well. For solitary wasps, such as the jeweled cockroach wasp hailing from the African savanna, reproductive hormones tell the body to go out and hunt a cockroach in order to lay an egg on it and continue the wasp life cycle. The wasp stings its prey and disables many of its sensory organs before burying it along with the egg, where it will then hatch and the grub inside will feast on the cockroach. I hope you enjoyed learning about the behavior of stinging in insects. Thanks for watching.